You all ready? Okay. This is the basic game lobby. When the player downloads the game, they're greeted with this. Obviously, the character won't have all this equipment. This character is quite advanced. We've accelerated the XP just for the testing purposes of the game. This is basically the skill tree of the character at the moment. Different skills like this would be firearm training, endurance, sprinting, weight carrying. This will be technical skills, dealing with electrical devices, detectors for anomalies and artifacts. Survival and first aid, that'll be dealing with broken arms and legs, being able to bandage them, helping other injured players, and then we have the world knowledge skill tree that is dealing with the environment altogether, how well the player can cope with the poisonous environments, the wild animals, things like that. For every 5 XP points the player uses, they get the availability to unlock a special perk. The perks are divided into 2 different sections at the moment. For example, this one, they're both oriented around endurance, for example sprinting, or second breath, which is a last sort of burst of energy if you are completely exhausted, just to get behind cover. One of the interesting things is once you choose one of these 2 perks, you're unable to choose the other one. So we think that'll just lead to more customized characters, more unique characters. So someone can't just choose absolutely everything and be a master of.
So choice actually matters.
Absolutely, very, very much. And it'll also, because we want to encourage players to team up together, and there'll be times when one player has developed his character with certain skills and he won't be able to accomplish something because he doesn't have the capability, so he needs someone who has the character that's capable of doing that to work with them so they can complete maybe one objective. So that's the basic skill tree at the moment. We're at level 32, but we plan to maximize maybe at level 100, but it'll take a very, very long time to get there, and by the time someone gets there, we will have extended the skill tree and added more possible options, so you can never really get to the top with your character. You'll always be able to continue evolving.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, is it possible, to gain all skills, or I mean,
you can gain all the skills, but not all the perks.
all the perks?
Yes. So, for example, you understand what I mean. You'll have some deficit in the choice of the perks you choose, and you won't be able to accomplish things that some people have because they have those perks and you don't. But in terms
you can
of
max all these bars,
yes, yeah, you can maximize all those at the moment. Because the game is still in alpha, it's a very early stage of development. So there might be some changes made, maybe making it a bit more complex, or at this stage we've got a lot of ideas. So time will tell what happens. In terms of the character customization, at the moment all the characters have the same face. We haven't implemented changing the character's face yet. It will be done in the game. As well as female characters and the ability to change the race of the character as well, darken the skin, whatever you want to do. When it comes to putting on equipment, the way the character gets equipment is dealing with factions that are in the game, accomplishing missions for them.
So NPC factions.
No, not NPC. They will contact you via this in-game diary. The NPCs that will be in the game will be the mutants and the wildlife, things like that.
So enemies, basically.
Correct. Players are kind of able to start their own faction, but we're calling them clans, and they can recruit members that they want, give them jobs, design their own sort of insignia and badges so they're recognized in the game. We just think that in terms of, especially when it comes to one of the later modes we're going to work on, which is free play, NPCs have kind of predictable behavior, especially if you have an alliance to certain factions. The programming already knows this, so that he's going to react in a certain way. But if you see another player who's a kilometer away, you don't know if it's safe to approach him to try and trade with him, or if you should just attack him. So we really want the choices you make to be very careful and have a big impact. So when it comes to putting on equipment, each faction, the more you work with them, the more equipment they will be willing to sell you. So at the moment, because this character is quite developed, he's got quite a lot of selection. We've implemented only 2 factions at the moment. We may be planning 6 to 8. So it's really quite simple just to change what the character's wearing. We're gonna implement it so that you can drag and drop directly onto the character. But each clothing item has very specific stats, and because you have weight limits and you need to carry other supplies, the number of pockets that each jacket has or pants have play a big role in what you can carry. To increase your carrier weight, you can always. Do I have one here? Don't think so. This is now the store section that the faction is offering me. You can add a backpack, which will then give you a bit more room to carry extra weight. Okay, sorry about that. But at the moment I'm going to equip an oxygen tank because we're going to come across different anomalies in the game, and you need to activate the oxygen so that you can breathe.
I'm wondering, is it possible maybe to choose to carry less weight to be more agile? Or
Absolutely. The equipment you want is up to you. At the moment the weight limit is 25 kilograms. Obviously you can train yourself to be able to carry more, but if you want to be a light, quick, agile character, that is of course possible as well. How much weight you carry is completely up to you.
So, have you loaded up the game yet?
No.
The next one.
Is he waiting already? Okay, sorry. So yeah, that's the basic lobby. Shall I load up the game? We can have a look at some of the. This is the first mode, PvP, which is kind of like the team match mode. We're going to develop the co-op mode, which is very story-driven and story-based, and then the free play mode, which is in a massive location and the players are just free to do what they want. That is going to be very sort of hardcore survival. In the PvP at the moment, it's designed for maybe 10 versus 10, but we've limited it to a total of 6 players just for synchronization issues because we're in the alpha stages, so it's still very early. So if it crashes or something while we're in it, don't be too surprised. And then, we're just waiting for players to jump on the server. Out of the 4 maps that are currently in the game, they are selected randomly by the server. You will be able to select at a later stage. And then in PvP, the goal, how you win the match, is there's different elements of electrical appliances and things like that scattered around the map randomly, and you've got to collect those to build a device which will protect you from an oncoming sort of cataclysmic event that will occur in the game, and only the team that has managed to collect that in time will survive. So we might end up waiting like 5 minutes. So if there's anything you want to ask, it's a good time.
Okay. So do you have anything like hunger?
Yes, not in this game mode because this is limited to maybe 10 minutes a session. But when it comes to the co-op and PvP, co-op and free play, absolutely there'll be hunger and thirst, dealing with temperatures and things like that. Much more the hardcore survival side of things. We're trying to develop a mode for every type of player, so that people who like shooting a lot can play this, but others who want to just be exploring alone can do that as well.
So, in co-op levels, how many players do you expect to have?
In both the co-op and free play, we want to limit the players to maybe 20, so that everything's not crowded and there's still a feeling of being very alone, and that civilization is down to very small numbers. So yeah, 20, maybe 30 players, depending on some of the areas, but not more than that.
So, do you have any idea, when will you reach the beta phase?
Beta for Russian territories will be maybe end of the year, and early next year, we're going to launch the beta for the rest of Europe and North America. We'll launch the alpha for Europe and America in the next few weeks after Gamescom, where players will be able to, from the West, be able to join and help test the game. And then next year, once the beta is launched, we're going to cut our team in half, and half will stay working on PvP to add new features, and the other half will start working on the new game mode to get it implemented. So now we just need one more person. What we also do is, you got a business card as well?
Yeah.
So as you can see, this one is already a lot brighter and as you say, happier than the previous one.
So you said time of the day changes. So
yes.
It's like real life, or is there a cycle?
Do you mean the time that it will change?
Yeah.
No.
How does it compare to real?
There will be a cycle. You want the player to experience all the different sort of weather and environments.
Regardless of their time zone.
Yeah, but then also with things like the cataclysmic event that we're calling Storm, that can it'll take various different forms, and it could cause everything to turn to night straight away and things like that. So, but yeah, there are plans. I mean, it'll take a while for things to change, for the sun to go down. But in a game mode like this, where it's short sessions, the weather will be pretty much constant through that mode. But in the co-op and free play especially, it'll be gradual, slow change.
So I'm guessing you'll have snow as well in the games.
Yeah, depending on the area and the time of year. We plan locations maybe going further deeper into Asia that might be snow. Potentially, because the game is completely globally based, we can potentially add any area from the world and incorporate it into the story. So anywhere in Central Europe, Eastern Europe, through to the Americas, Africa, Australia.
So it's not just Eastern Europe.
No, it's a global catastrophe. So anywhere in the world, sort of Paris and London are big sort of. Ready? Okay. This is what we like to call the radar station location. As you can see, nature kind of has just kind of overrun it as with sort of the background of the game story. This is just a view of one of the anomalies that you can find here, electrical-based anomaly. To get artifacts out of it, you'd have to be specially equipped and trained.
That's another place, right?
Yes.
What kind of engine are you using?
We developed this engine ourselves. We started from the very beginning. It's fully DirectX 11 capable, but it will be scalable down to DirectX 9. For players that have some lower end computers. Obviously, at the moment you'll see kind of some graphic bugs and maybe a bit of looping, but that's just due to the synchronization of the alpha.
I think it looks pretty good for now.
Pretty
good.
Oh, thank you. That's a nice first impression. If you compare the visuals to the pre-alpha screenshots, you can see there's been quite a lot of improvement made already.
So I'm wondering if you can say anything about maybe possible, release on next-gen consoles, maybe.
We were asked about that yesterday. Because the architecture of the PS4 is now it's a lot easier to, once we've finished everything for the computer, to just migrate it to the PS4. So at the moment it isn't planned, but it's something we're going to look at in the future. But we just want to finish, we're concentrating on the PC for now, but it might be possible in the future, yes.
So PS4 it's more likely than Xbox One,
We haven't really, taken time to research, the Xbox One and the next-gen consoles. But as much as we know at the moment, the PS4 would be acceptable. Yes. Purely because the architecture is a lot more up to date than the PS3, which is based on years old stuff already. So.
It's also a lot more like PC hardware, so it's...
Yes, because of the next gen, the graphic capabilities and the processing power and things like that. So it might happen. We've had a lot of questions about that. So.
Yeah, there are many free-to-play games there. So. Speaking of free-to-play, so what kind of, I guess you'll have a cash shop sort of thing.
Yes, okay. When people, I'm sure you know, when they hear the free-to-play term, they think, okay, you can pay and pay to win. So what we're gonna implement. Are you familiar with how World of Tanks do things? It's very cosmetic based.
Yeah.
So players with premium accounts will be able to customize clothing a bit more than other players. They'll get things like extended player statistics, just a bit more detail about their character and the history behind it and things like that, as well as we'll offer founder packs, which will kind of be like collector's editions, where they will actually receive like physical, maybe physical steel badge of their characters' alliances, as well as t-shirts and things like that. So nothing game breaking. We won't have an AK that you can buy in game and then one you actually pay for that's 10 times damage. That kind of thing we're not going to implement. So nothing that will affect the balance.
So, did you ever think, of using Kickstarter like?
We did look like that at options like that, back before development started. But luckily we managed to find some very very kind investors, and they really really believe in what we're doing. So, but let me exit out of this, and we can see if maybe load another location and get another look. I'm going to change a few weapons so we get a look at something else. See, as you can see, this one is already a lot brighter and as you say, happier than the previous one.
So you said time of the day changes, so
Yes.
it's like real life, or is there a cycle?
Do you mean does it
Yeah.
the time that it will change?
Yeah.
No,
How does it compare to real? You know.
there will be a cycle. You want the player to experience all the different sort of weather and environments.
Yeah,
so,
regardless of their time zone.
yeah. But then also with things like the cataclysmic event that we're calling Storm, that can it'll take various different forms, and it could cause everything to turn to night straight away and things like that. So, but yeah, there are plans. I mean, it'll take a while for things to change, for the sun to go down. But in a game mode like this, where it's short sessions, the weather will be pretty much constant through that mode. But in the co-op and free play especially, it'll be gradual, slow change.
So I'm guessing you'll have the snow as well in the games.
Yeah, depending on the area and the time of year. We plan locations maybe going further deeper into Asia that might be snow. Potentially, because the game is completely globally based, we can potentially add any area from the world and incorporate it into the story. So anywhere in Central Europe, Eastern Europe, through to the Americas, Africa, Australia.
So it's not just Eastern Europe. Like
No. It's a global catastrophe. So anywhere in the world. So Paris and London are big sort of